Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something that almost every English learner struggles with at some point. Confidence. Or more specifically, why is it that some people know a lot of English but are afraid to speak? And why do some people with less English seem completely comfortable having conversations? It is a fascinating question because confidence is often misunderstood. Many people think confidence comes from having perfect grammar or large vocabulary or a native-like accent. But if that were true, every advanced learner would be confident and every beginner would be nervous. Yet, that's not what we see. In reality, confidence has much more to do with psychology than language. So, let's explore what confidence really is, why so many learners struggle with it, and how we can develop it. Confidence myth. The first thing we need to understand is that confidence is not something you are born with. It's not a personality trait that some people have and some others don't. And it is not a magical feeling that suddenly appears one day. Many learners imagine confidence like this. First, I'll improve my English, then I will become confident. No, it's not how it works. Confidence usually comes after action, never before it. Think about driving a car. First time you drive, you are nervous. The 10th time, you are a little more comfortable. The 100th time, you barely think about it. What has changed? Experience. The same thing happens with speaking English. Why speaking feels different? Here's something interesting. Many learners can read English, they can watch videos, they can understand podcasts, they can even write reasonably well, but speaking feels completely different. Why? Because speaking happens in real time. You don't have unlimited time to think. You can't just pause a conversation. You can't search for every word. You have to respond right away. And that, I know, that creates pressure. Your brain suddenly becomes aware of every mistake, every hesitation, every pronunciation issue. That's why speaking often feels more intimidating than any other language skill. The fear of judgment. Let's talk about one of the biggest psychological barriers, the fear of being judged. Many learners worry about what other people think. They imagine someone listening and thinking, wow, that's a terrible mistake, or that pronunciation sounds awful, or this person's English isn't very good. I've been through that. The fact is that most people, they are too busy thinking about themselves to spend any time, thinking about your mistakes. And even if they notice your mistakes, they don't care. The worst critic is often inside your head, is your own voice. People always say that children are fearless, and when it comes to language learning, there is some truth to that. Children make mistakes constantly. They mispronounce words, they use incorrect grammar, they say strange things, and they keep talking. Adults are different. Adults often associate mistakes with embarrassment. We become more self-conscious. more aware of how others perceive us, and that awareness can slow down learning. The problem isn't that adults can't learn languages. The problem is that adults often judge themselves too hard and too much. The perfectionism trap. Perfectionism is one of the biggest enemies of confidence. Imagine a learner who refuses to speak until every sentence is perfect. What happens? They speak less. They gain less experience. They improve more slowly, and because they improve more slowly, their confidence remains low. The desire to avoid mistakes creates the very problem they're trying to solve. Successful learners eventually understand something important. Communication does not require perfection, it requires participation. Your brain is trying to protect you. Here's the fascinating psychological insight: fear isn't necessarily your enemy. Your brain is actually trying to protect you. When speaking English feels uncomfortable, your brain interprets that discomfort as a potential threat, not a physical threat, a social threat. Humans are social creatures. We naturally want acceptance. We naturally want approval. So when there's possibility of embarrassment, your brain becomes cautious. The problem is that growth often exists on the other side of discomfort. If you always avoid uncomfortable situations, you also avoid many opportunities to improve. Confidence is built through evidence. This is one of the most important ideas in today's video. Confidence is built through evidence. Think about it. Why are you confident walking? Because you've done it thousands of times. Why are you confident in speaking your native language? Because, of course, you've done it your entire life. Confidence comes from accumulated experiences. The same applies to English. Every conversation becomes evidence. Every successful interaction becomes evidence. Every moment of communication becomes evidence. Over time, your brain starts saying, I've done this before and I can do it again. That is confidence. Stop waiting to feel ready. Many learners spend years waiting to know more vocabulary, waiting to improve pronunciation, waiting to master grammar, waiting to feel confident. But confidence rarely arrives before action. Most confident speakers started as nervous speakers. The difference is that they continued anyway. They spoke while feeling uncomfortable. They practiced while feeling uncertain. They participated before they felt ready. And eventually, confidence followed. The power of small wins. One mistake people make is focusing only on big achievements. Fluency, job interviews, presentations, important conversations. But confidence often grows through small wins, such as ordering food in English, sending a message, taking part in a conversation, understanding a podcast, understanding this very own video. These small victories, they do matter. They create momentum, and momentum builds confidence. And why mistakes are actually helpful? Let's reframe mistakes just for a moment. What if mistakes weren't proof of failure? What if they were proof of participation? Think about athletes. Athletes make mistakes constantly. Musicians make mistakes. Business owners make mistakes. Teachers make mistakes. Mistakes are a normal part of improvement. The learners who become confident are not the ones who avoid mistakes. They're the ones who stop being afraid of making mistakes. Focus on communication, not performance. This shift can transform your mindset. Many learners approach conversations like performances. They feel like they're being evaluated, judged, tested. But communication is not a performance, it is a connection. The goal is not to impress people, the goal is to exchange ideas. When you focus on connection instead of perfection, speaking becomes much less stressful. Comparing yourself is dangerous. Social media has made comparison incredibly easy. You see someone speaking flawless English, you hear someone with a beautiful accent, you watch someone giving a professional presentation, and suddenly you feel inadequate. But comparison is often misleading. You don't see their years of practice, you don't see their struggles, you don't see the mistakes they made along the way. You only see the finished product. Confidence grows much faster when you compare yourself to your best self rather than to other people. Confidence and identity. Here's a deeper psychological insight. Many learners secretly believe, I'm not the kind of person who speaks English well. That belief becomes a problem because people often behave in ways that match their identity. Successful learners eventually begin to see themselves differently. Instead of saying, I'm bad at English, they start saying, I'm someone who is improving my English. That subtle changes matters. One statement creates limitations, the other creates possibilities. So I'll give you some practical ways to build your own confidence. Speak regularly, even if it's just a few minutes a day. Celebrate small victories. Keep a record of your progress. Practice in a low-pressure environment. Talk to supportive people. Focus on communication. Accept mistakes. And most importantly, keep showing up. Confidence is not built in a single day. It is built over and over, every day, every practice. And if there's one thing I want you to remember is, confidence is not a prerequisite for speaking English. Confidence is a result of speaking English. You don't become confident and then start. You start and then confidence grows. Every fluent speaker was once nervous. Every confident speaker was once uncertain. Every successful learner was once a beginner. The difference is that they kept going, even through discomfort. So, don't wait until fear disappears. Don't wait until your English is perfect. Don't wait until you feel completely ready. You start now. Speak now. Practice now. Because confidence is not something you find, it's something you build. Thank you so much for watching. Keep learning, keep speaking, keep growing. And remember, the goal isn't to speak English without fear. The goal is to speak English even when fear is present, because that's where real confidence begins. So subscribe, hit the like button, and I shall see you in the next video. Thank you, bye bye.